Okay. Okay, right, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all. Oh, I'd like to welcome everyone to this Zoom session with our guest, Grandmaster Keith Arkell. This meeting is really a normal Tuesday night meeting for Camberley Chess Club, but we've invited friends from Guildford Chess Club and Crowthorne, and I think we've got some visitors from the Isle of Wight. So currently we've got about 25 participants. Okay, if anyone doesn't know Keith, then I'd be surprised, but I'll just show you. This is a book that Keith wrote some while ago, and I believe a new book is coming out any moment now. Is that right, Keith?
Literally, I mean, we're hopefully about a week away. The time it takes me to run through the final version and make sure everything's okay and readable, and how I'd like it to be displayed and everything. So, yeah, so we're very near now. We're very near now to Arkell's endings being unleashed onto the world. And actually, one of the first game that I'm going to take us through tonight is one of the games in the book.
Okay.
And well, that's it's a game against a young player called Eden Ilfeld, and I was black, and surprise, surprise, it was a Caro-Kann, and this game is all about how to play for a win against somebody who would like to draw, somebody reasonably significantly lower rated than yourself, and they want to use white pieces to swap off everything and make a draw, make it as hard as possible for me to win. So it's about not panicking and playing something sharp and trying to fight against that from the very beginning, but instead to accumulate very, very small advantages and try and put him under as much pressure as possible and be prepared to dig in for a long game if necessary. So shall I plunge in and start making moves? Hopefully the arrows worked. So, there's a strange drawing on the board. I don't know if that's somebody playing me off. Okay, it's gone now, whatever it was. And so we have the Caro and knight d7. As I was telling John earlier, I used to play bishop f5, and with some quite reasonable success. But then one day I lost a league match. I lost a league match against a guy called Eric Myers from Worcester. I don't know if John Wrench knows that name or remembers that name. I lost one game in 2 years of playing the bishop f5, and for some reason I never played it again. And I just started. This is going back 30 years. I began playing knight d7. I can't explain why I've never played bishop f5 again. But yeah, knight d7 has been my main Caro weapon, and my opponent swaps off whenever he can. And knight e5, bishop e6 bishop e6 looks a little bit awkward, but you're planning to fianchetto the f8 bishop, so it sits perfectly happily on e6 and also stops white from playing bishop c4, which is the best square for the white bishop. Bishop f3. So that knight on e5 is a little bit of a nuisance. So I'd like to swap off a minor piece. I'd like to swap off one of the minor pieces. I'd like to swap off either my knight or my bishop for something. My white square bishop or knight for something, just to relieve the congestion. Well, ideally I'd like to swap off the bishops, but actually I'm not sure. This is something a bit strange. This isn't the game. Something very strange has happened. Sorry about this, guys. I don't think this is the game. Actually, bishop f3 is the game, but I don't think I played bishop d5 here, so I'm not quite sure whether this has gone into some sub variation. Let me try playing the move that I played. I played knight d7, and let's see what happens. This is all very strange. I think I'm going to have to go out of this into the game, John, to just see what's amiss. This is all a little bit weird. Okay, I think probably what's happened is we looked at a move when we looked at it together earlier, and it's kind of offering that as one of the options, because in this position, after I castled, my opponent played rook e1. So if I manually play that, we may transpose, we may go back into the game. Let's have a look. No, for some reason it's not playing knight d7. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it
Can
from
you
the
enter
score.
the moves manually?
Yeah, I'll do it from the score sheet. Otherwise, I've got to send it. I'll do it from the score sheet. That won't be a problem. Sorry about this, guys. Little technical hitch there. I don't quite know why it's not remembering a game that I've just literally just downloaded from ChessBase. So anyway, I played knight d7, and my opponent took exchange of knights. He's trying to exchange pieces. He just wants to have an easy life. If he goes back with the knight, if he goes to f3 or d3 even, I'll trade. I'll happily trade my variation. I'll happily trade my bishop for the knight. So, for example, if he goes to d3, I'll play bishop c4, and when I have to take something, I'll take something. So I'll take either the knight when if he ever goes b3, or if he moves the knight somewhere, I'll take off the bishop. And we cut bishops in the Caro-Kann very often. The white square bishop is just a nuisance. It gets in the way. It stops me playing e6. It's on the colour of the pawns that want to follow in after it. So I want to swap that bishop off. So if he goes knight d3, I'll go bishop c4 and swap. If he goes knight f3, I'll play bishop g4 and then swap when I have to, and then play e6 and get my pieces out, bring my pieces to the centre, my rooks to the middle, with my queen somewhere like c7. But he's not interested. He's not interested in keeping pieces on. He plays knight takes d7. I took that with the queen, and he played bishop f3. So I guess I played rook e8 first, and he played bishop f4. So I guess we can maybe ask the first question to everybody. And the question is, what would Black like to do? What's the next stage, next plan that Black would like to kind of unleash in this position? So can we unmute everybody, or I don't know how it works, or do they type to you, or? I think I was muted.
Yeah, if somebody wants to say something, then
maybe open the C file with the rook behind it, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long-term plan. That's good. I mean, the idea of eventually playing C5 is a good plan. And I think at the moment my bishop's a little bit uncomfortable on E6. So if I go C5, unless I do a lot of preparation, like rook E to D8 and so on, he'll just meet C5 with D5, and my bishop would get buffeted around a little bit. Or if I take that off, if for example I've got a rook on d8 and I've played c5 and he plays d5, and if I take that off, bishop takes d5, he'll swap off everything and then have a rook takes e7 at the end. So although playing c5 is the right plan, I think I need to just ease my position a little bit first. I think I need to do something about my bishop on e6, because it's in the way of everything. It's in the way of harmonising my position by putting a pawn there. So I'd like to swap off my e6 bishop first, and then eventually play for c5. But can anybody see what the problem is if I try to swap immediately with bishop d5? Anybody see what is a good reply for white if I play bishop d5 this move?
Yeah, there's been a few replies, Keith. I don't know if are you seeing them in
Yeah,
your chat?
I can't. No, I can't see. I can't see anything. I can't. You'll have to. Yeah, I can't see any typed.
Okay,
Words. So
so
yeah, you'll just have to either
yeah.
unmute people or read the quotes to me. I mean, unmuting seems more
Okay, well,
friendly somehow.
yeah. Let's try the unmuting route then. So if you've got a suggestion, then just unmute yourself and
You
give
can
your
unmute yourself by pressing the space bar, and then when you release it, you're muted again.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, who wants to go first?
It's Martin here. I don't know if I've unmuted.
Whoever gets in first, just speak away.
Space bar.
Yeah, that's worked. Yeah.
Okay, so if you do play Bishop D5,
Yeah.
then Bishop G4 looks a good idea.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. If it's premature playing Bishop D5 because Bishop G4 and the problem is that my bishop's just kind of stuck on D5. It's actually very awkward on that square. If I now play E6, which I'd like to do, he can drop back with the bishop E2. And suddenly I'm worrying about C4. I'm worrying about losing that bishop. I'm worrying about having it rounded up. So it's an F5 is just ugly. I mean, in this kind of game, you never want to move the F pawn until way down the road. If you have to move an F pawn, something's gone badly wrong because you'll always have problems with defending the pawn on E7. I'll add to that in general, when you play these kind of positions, you want to have the structure pawn F7 and pawn E6, and then you'd leave those. You leave those forever if possible, if you can, and you chisel away from the edges. You chisel away with the C pawn. You chisel away with the H and G pawns, but you don't. You try not to move the pawn on E6 and the pawn on F7. They're the sort of bastion of black's position. But yeah, Bishop D5 is premature because I replied Bishop G4. So what I played was H5, a move that you would not play if there were knights on the board. You would never play that move because you're just inviting a knight to sit on G5. But in the current situation with only bishops and with 4 pawns around my king, it's a perfectly safe move to play because I'm going to swap off further pieces, and white's a long way away from conjuring up any kind of attack in this position. And the idea of H5 is, of course, to play Bishop D5, or better still, because Bishop D5 can net by Bishop E2, better still, Bishop G4, because that forces the bishops off. When you play a move like Bishop G4, you just have to be careful that you're not losing a pawn. So you have to be careful that after Bishop G4, Bishop takes G4, Queen takes G4, Queen takes G4, H takes G4. White hasn't got some move attacking that pawn. For example, a Rook E4, if it were attacking that pawn, could be awkward. Because you'd have to go F5, then the Rook could plonk itself on E6, and yeah, you might not be feeling too happy in that situation. But here, Bishop G4 is a plan, and the double G pawns wouldn't be a problem at all because an H pawn becoming a G pawn is influencing the game a lot more than it is as an H pawn. As a G pawn, it will be crippling all White's 3 kingside pawns. So Black would have no problem taking Black on G4 with the H pawn. So H5. And my opponent was very obliging, and he continued Queen E2. And so I could play Bishop D5 here. I could play either Bishop D5 or Bishop G4, but I saw no problem in Bishop G4. And I would have been happy if he'd swapped off. I'd been happy if he'd swapped off both the Bishop and the Queen. I've got no problem with trying to win that endgame. G4, and he forced me to take, and so I took, and Queen takes, and Queen D5. At which point Black is not worse. Black is absolutely not worse, and Black may be very slightly better. The Queen's very nice on D5. If White retreats, Black can play Rook A D8, Rook D7, Rook E D8, and just at his own leisure play for C5 when there'll be pressure down the D file, possibly even winning the only open file, the D file. And meanwhile, Black will put the pawn on E6, so everything will be very solid. White having the E file will mean absolutely nothing. So Black's very comfortable now, and my opponent played a little move which again just slightly improved my position. After Queen takes D5, C takes D5. This C pawn is just a little bit stronger as a D pawn. at which point I'll break into my hierarchy of pawns theory. In all the kind of classical chess book we read about, it's good to capture towards the centre, but I slightly redefine that as in normal position where both players are castle kingside. Instead of saying you capture towards the centre, you capture from the right across to the left. So you any capture, like if an A pawn becomes a B pawn, that's a positional gain. If a B pawn becomes a C pawn, it's a positional gain, and so on all the way across the board. So, for example, we all know that if for example White's got a pawn on B4 and Black plays A5, and White plays B8, we all know that that's a positional gain for Black in general. It's in chess. We know the A pawn is the weakest, and we're always very happy to swap our A pawn for a B pawn. It's also true to a slightly more subtle extent with a B and C. Usually in chess, if you can swap your B pawn for a C pawn, then we do it because we're gaining strength in the centre of the board. We get rid of our opponent's C pawn, then it can't challenge our D pawn. And it's also true about the C and the D pawn. If you swap off a C pawn for a D pawn and all else is equal, you've made a slight positional gain, and which is incidentally the reason why Bent Larsen didn't like to play 1e4, because he had no answer for the Sicilian, because he didn't like to play 3d4 against the Sicilian, because 3d4, C takes d4 is a positional gain for Black, C pawn for the D pawn. Of course, in the Sicilian, White gets lots of space and lots of attacking compensation, but purely from a structural point of view, the exchange of a D pawn for C pawn favours the player capturing the D pawn. And this is also true to a much more further subtle extent with E and D. In normal position with castles kingsides, the D pawn is very, very slightly weaker than the E pawn. And this is why people play the centre counter. They play the centre counter, allowing the queen to be buffeted about, losing two tempo, 1.5 tempo, because they've made a favourable, very, very slightly favourable exchange the D pawn for the E pawn. And it's also true with E and F. And this is where you go slightly against the kind of classical rules about capturing towards the centre, because I believe an F pawn is fractionally stronger than an E pawn. So I absolutely, when I see somebody play the King's Gambit, I'm just cringing, because they immediately, messing about with their two most valuable pawns. But yeah, from the A across to the F, I believe that pawns gradually increase in value. As far as G and H are concerned, that's more to do with king safety and the specific issue that's going on the board. So anyway, he plays queen takes d5 and I play c takes d5. I'm now structurally slightly better because I have an e pawn in exchange for my opponent's c pawn. This enables me to have a very clear-cut plan, which is a minority attack, which is to move the b pawn, play b5, move the a pawn to a5, and then play b4. And however White reacts to that, he would end up with a weakness. If he plays c takes b4, I'll play a takes b4, and he'll have a backward a pawn and an isolated d pawn. If he just lets me play b5, b4, and b takes c3, then when he recaptures, he'll have a backward c pawn on an open file. So this position is now set up for a minority attack. And normally the answer to a minority attack is either to attack on the king side, but that's not possible here because we're in an end game, or to advance the king side pawns to do a kind of reciprocal minority attack. So while Black's going b5 and a5 and b4, White would go, pretend the bishop's not on f4, White would go f4, g4, and Black would have a pawn on e6 by then, and then f5. And so that both players would be kind of, the minority attacks would balance each other out. But what my intention is in this game is to try and prevent him doing the same thing on the king side. And not only that, but actually to probe a little bit on both sides of the board in order to try and create two weaknesses. Because again, one of the classical what's the word I'm looking for? Not proverb, but statements in chess. Is
Theme
is the word, yeah. Wake up brain, yeah. The themes is that if a player's got one weakness, it can be defended. If a player's got two weaknesses, it's much more difficult to defend. So with that in mind, I want to do both a minority attack and maybe try and create a weakness somewhere else, which is kind of what I get the opportunity to do over the next few moves. So he takes the queen off. and he plays very sensibly. My opponent, by the way, for the record, he's about 200 grade. He's he's a sensible, strong player, and he plays a very good plan now. He brings his king to the d3 square, where he can support the queen side against my upcoming minority attack. F1, I played b5 anyway, because at some point I'm going to play that move, and he just, for the time being, slows me down with a3. Because I mean, at the moment I'm threatening to play b4, and if he takes it, I'll take his d pawn. I'll have centre pawns. In general, centre pawns are, even in the endgame, centre pawns are more scary than wing pawns. So b4 is a kind of first. He plays a sensible a3, and now bishop f6. The idea of bishop f6 is to gain space on both sides of the board. The idea is to play moves like g5, moves like h4, to discourage white from advancing his kingside pawns. Because if I've got pawns on g5, h4, and he then starts moving his kingside pawns, he'll create weaknesses in his own position. So I want to discourage him moving those pawns, and I want to gain space, which will just be very useful for all sorts of reasons, which we'll see a little bit later. So I played bishop f6. He carried on with his very sensible plan of bringing the king to the centre, and I played g5. My favourite chess move. And normally, if in chess you can play g5, you're normally doing well. It's a good sign that things are going well. If you're in a position to actually just play g5 as a space gaining move, it means you're probably not under any kind of an attack, and you're able to have a certain amount of freedom. So I played g5 just to gain space. Also to make his bishop choose. The moment his bishop can kind of go back to e3 or d2 and defend from behind against my minority attack, and it can kind of annoy my rooks and not let them go to where they want to go on c8 and b8. But I'm making him choose, and so he decides to keep it on the aggressive diagonal. A good idea. And I fix the king side with h4. And so what I've done now, while gaining the space on the king side, is I've prevented him from doing the reciprocal minority attack. He now cannot use his pawns to break up my king side. So at some point I'm going to play e6. He cannot get a pawn to f5 anymore. At the moment he plays f4, I'll take it with my g pawn, and he'll have a backward g pawn fixed on g2. If he plays g3 first, again I'll take it. If he takes through the bishop, he'll have two weak pawns. If he takes through the pawn, he again will no longer have the chance to play that pawn to f5. So my structure, by playing h4 and g5, my structure of f7, what will be e6 and d5, can't be challenged. It can't be challenged. That's the strong point of black's position, those three pawns. So I'm securing the king side against any attempt to break it up. So play h4. He plays king d3, and an interesting feature about this position is the relative position of the kings. Black's king's passive on g8. White's king's very active on d3. But White's king has now reached its absolute maximum. What Black's king's got is a ready-made route into White's position via g7, g6, and f5, and then possibly after some more probing, as you'll see as the game progresses, even further than that. So although his king's better than mine at the moment, his king's reached its maximum. My king's got a lot of potential for going right into his position. So he played king d3, and I don't need the rook on e8 any longer. Everything can be defended perfectly well without it. So I'm just preparing to play a5 and b4 and put a little bit of pressure on c3. And he now decided to swap the bishops. He played bishop e5. It's unclear whether that's a good move or not. It kind of takes some sting out of the position, out of his position and out of my position. I mean, without the bishops, I have no kind of backup pressure against his centre when b4 comes. But also, I've got more freedom to move my rooks without the bishops. It's not. I'm not sure whether he should do that or not. But he wants to just swap pieces off. He thinks that the more pieces get swapped off, the nearer we get to a draw. I played king g7. He now played a very good move because he doesn't want to sit back and just wait for me to play a5 and b4. So he plays a4 himself. He takes the initiative to me. And now there's only one move. There's only one move here. I won't ask you to say what that move is, because I think it's quite obvious that if those 2 pawns get exchanged, it's clear white's on top. I'll suddenly be in trouble. If I have to take that, he plays rook takes and doubles rooks, and I've got a weak A pawn, and I'm big trouble, probably maybe even losing by 4. So clearly against A4, I must play A6. I must keep my structure intact. Keep the option of playing for B4. So A4, A6, and he carried on very strongly. He wants to double rooks and drive me off the A file. And E6. And now he has to make a decision. Well, actually, he doesn't have to make a decision yet. He goes rook A3. Rook EC8, bishop E5, king G7, A4, A6, rook A3, E6. Oh yes, in this position, if he now plays rook A1, which looks like a very sensible move, I can take his bishop off, takes, and then go here. And the more you look at this position, the more you realize actually it's very unpleasant for white, because I have his e pawn is very, very vulnerable, because I've fixed his kingside with H4 and G5. He can't play G3 and F4, so he can't support his e pawn with pawns. And so I've got a very serious plan of playing rook C4 and rook E4, which would just win the pawn. Meanwhile, he has no chance of attacking any of my weaknesses, because, I mean, even if you give him a lot of moves and give him double rooks on a 7th to attack my F-pawn, I'll just use one rook to defend the F-pawn and the other rook to come and get his E-pawn. So he has to take very seriously my threat of rook C4 and rook F4. And also the threat to play B4, positional threat to play B4, which would give him a further weakness. If I was able to play B4 here, he would either have a weakness on B2, if he took, or if he let me take, he'd have a weakness on C3, and he would then have a weakness on C3, E5, and G2. So all the time his structure is getting weaker and weaker, and there's still no real weakness in my structure. There'll be just that one pawn on the queen side, which is very easy to deal with. So it would be premature to play rook A1 and allow me to play bishop takes bishop. So he quite correctly takes the bishop first. King takes, and now he takes. It's the same as playing rook A1. Either way, I must play rook B8 next move. So he takes, and he plays rook A1. Now, what should I play here? We'll just have a little. We'll have a little bit of participation from you guys. What's the best move here? Should I exchange the rook, or should I move the rook away? Which of the two?
So press the space bar if you want to make a comment here.
Well, if you exchange rooks, won't you always be tied to the defence of the B5 pawn with the other rooks?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on, Colin. It's absolutely spot on. Exactly. If I go rook A3, he takes back, and he'll maybe even go B4, and he'll just fix me to defending the B pawn. I'll have no real active ideas, and very, very difficult to win the game. It's probably a draw. So yeah, I need to keep both pairs of rooks on. So I did indeed play rook A B8, and because if I'm going to give him two weaknesses, which is my idea, to give him two weaknesses, it's much better for me to have both rooks on, so I can actually probe properly against those two weaknesses. Keep one rook defending the B pawn, and holding fort over there, and the other rook doing something a little bit more interesting. So yes, I played rook A B8, and now he played another very good move. His whole sequence over the last 10 moves, I think, has been very, very good. Just trying to hold everything up. He played because what he doesn't want to do now is just let me play B4. If he lets me play B4, then he'll be stuck with that weakness. His second rank is also a little bit soft. His F2 and G2 pawns. If I get to play B4 and BC, and then possibly start playing threatening moves like rook B2, it's got a little bit to worry about. So he played and also the plan of the game after I play B4, the plan of the game, which I won't reveal yet because I'll be passing over to you guys to solve that one. But he plays a very good move. He plays B4. His thinking is that he's going to have a weak C pawn anyway. If I play B4, he's going to have a weak C pawn anyway. So he might as well leave me with the weak B pawn. So b4 was a very good move, fixing my b4. And okay, this is where we will ask you guys to suggest a plan for black. So the position's crystallised somewhat. Black is significantly better from a practical point of view. I mean, I'm sure engines would say. I hope none of you got your engines on, by the way. We don't like engine use when we're doing this kind of thing. The position's crystallised. What's black's next plan? How can I improve my position? Where can I probe next?
I've had a suggestion, Keith, from Phil of King F5. I mean, presumably you're after a plan rather than just a move.
Yeah, a plan. Well, it's a kind of a move and a plan. A move and a plan. I mean, King F5 is a very natural move.
I think it's the one I suggested when we.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's a very natural move, but I don't want to provoke him into playing Rook A7. I don't want to provoke him into attacking my pawns. And I'll go King F5. I mean, he'll go Rook A7. I've then got to decide what to do about that pawn. If I go passive defending it, he can then start infiltrating. He's going to double rooks. He can then, from a position of double rooks, he can maybe put one of them on A5 and one of them on C5. And I'm on the defensive. And if I move the F pawn again, it's kind of like I'm weakening my pawns at a moment when his rooks are active. He can go there. Maybe that threatens Rook A6, and my E pawn's getting a bit vulnerable. And if I go E5, my D pawn will be vulnerable. Somehow or other, I'm passive and he's active. So the last thing I want is my pawns to be destabilised. So although King F5 in principle is the right direction, it's just the timing isn't quite right. I need to, because my king's nicely defending my pawns at the moment, and I don't want to create I don't want to create a weakness in my position. I want to create weaknesses in his position. So any other ideas?
Can you put a rook on G8 and play for G5?
Spot on. Well done. I can't read which one of you said that, but
Steve.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, great. Yeah, exactly. You've got it spot on. Yeah, I play Rook G8, and I'm now thanks to my space gaining earlier, the G5 and H5 and H4. I've now created the opportunity to inflict a weakness on the king side, and once I've inflicted a second weakness, then the defense will be all that much more difficult for white. And I'm threatening now to go G4. If he plays some random move and lets me play G4, then he'll be in a bit of trouble. Let's say I'll just play some move. If he plays some move and lets me play G4, then however he responds, he'll have some significant problems to deal with. I mean, if he takes that, I take back, and I'm immediately pressuring his whole king side. If he lets me take, he'll then have two isolated pawns. I'll have a rook coming to G2, then possibly to H2. He'll be hugely on the defensive. So he absolutely does not want to let me play G4. So he plays the obvious move to stop me playing G4, and to absolutely stop me playing G4, which is F3.
We had a suggestion, Keith, before Rook G8 of black should double his rooks on the C file. That was Daniel's idea.
Yeah, hi Daniel. Yeah, the problem is with doubling on the C line is when I'm doubled, my rooks will be completely used up. So I'll play Rook C7, Rook B C8, and all he needs to do then is to have his king and one rook defending the C pawn, which is very, very easy for him to do, and he'll then have a spare rook to do as he wants with. So if you picture, if I say, for example, go here, he puts his rook. I'm just going to go up to. He puts his rook here. I go here. He goes here. That's it. That's me. That's me out of ideas. My rooks are completely used up. I can't improve them. I can't do anything with them. Meanwhile, he's threatening Rook B7. So in fact, if I play it like this, his king is actually more useful than my king. His king is defending his weak C pawn, but my king is a long way away from defending my weak B pawn. So in fact, I will actually be under pressure. I might end up standing worse if I use up my rooks in this way. So if I had three rooks you know, if we had 3 rooks, or if there was a queen as well, then black could smash straight in against c3, and he would have big problems defending it. But with 2 rooks, it's too easy for him to defend. Well, yeah, as a principle in chess, of course, going up on a backward pawn is a good idea. But this is a kind of slightly unique situation where it just doesn't quite work here. So, but yes, I did indeed play the rook g8, and he played f3. And so I now probe a little bit more. I played king f5. The difference now is that it's not just a move that's improved my king. It's got some specific direct point to it. It scares him a bit. He doesn't really want to let me play king f4 and king g3, even though that's not, it's not a winning plan. But it's something that I'm posing him with an awkward problem. From a position where he's just thinking this is an easy draw, swap some pieces off, just stop not doing anything. He's suddenly now got to ask himself a question: Do I allow king f4? Do I not allow king f4? It's an awkward moment for him. I think actually he made I think he's made his first serious mistake. He's made some very, very minor mistakes up to now. I think he now made his first serious mistake, and it's a very natural mistake to make, which is he plays king e3. I think he should go rook a7 and try and get counterplay against excuse me, against f7 against my pawn. He should play rook a7 and I'll either play f6 or play rook f8 and renew the threat of king f4 and carry on probing. But yeah, he played the natural but not very good king e3. Yeah, to win a game of chess, you've got to have at least one. With black, you've got to have at least one mistake of some significance, and that's the move. But the ingredients were there for that kind of error to happen, because I've made these little gains, and he's under very, very slight. Yeah, he's under. He can feel a bit of pressure. So to have a king there, of course, this rook on g8 is doing nothing now. I'm never going to go g4 now, so I switch it back to c8, and from c8, I'm tying his rooks down. He's now lost a chance to enter my position with his rooks, which is a bit of a relief for me. And I'm now threatening to just by very natural moves to put him under a lot of pressure. As John pointed out when we looked at this game earlier, if he just defends passively like this, I can go here and let's just say he does nothing, and I can go here, and then he's got to deal with the threat of rook takes b4. There's a nasty little pin on the c file, and if he deals with it like that, suddenly I've stolen the a file. So by retreating when he first challenged the a file, and then creating some weaknesses, I've now been able to pounce and take the a file off him. And once I take the a file, then he's got serious problems. My rook can come down to a1, and when I've got everything ideally placed, I can finally start thinking about f6 and d5. I can even play rook a1 and bring the c4 rook back to c8. To a8, and then try and bring both rooks into his position, bring both perhaps even to my 8th rank, and really kind of put him under huge pressure. So he doesn't want to be under that kind of pressure this early. So there's another little point that when I was looking at with John, which we kind of discovered by accident, which is that if he wants to avoid that little cheapo of putting the rook on c1 and allowing the little rook takes b4 trick, he can try and defend laterally. He can try and go here, when there is no point at all by playing this, because then he can just defend everything like that and threaten rook a5 and I'm not really getting anywhere. I can maybe go king f4 at some point, and that's not ideal for me. But after he goes there, what I can play is there, and then it's a very, very strange. Is this a position that we did the Zugzwang in, John? I can't remember. I think it was, wasn't it?
Looks familiar, yeah.
I think actually we played one more move. We had so we played a move, and then black played here, and then white defends the a file. Incidentally, the rook there would lose a pawn to rook takes c3 check. So white just tries to hold on to everything like this, and this is where black just does a move. It doesn't matter what, black just doesn't move. And this is quite an unusual Zugzwang. Neither the rooks can move, and if the king.
I think it's unusual to have a Zugzwang with 4 rooks on the board.
Yeah. It's the same Zugzwang, which I think when I've demonstrated this game before, I hadn't noticed this. I hadn't noticed this position, It's quite an unusual Zugzwang. So white must give way with something. He must give way with his king, and you know, and then my king goes forwards, and I'm always looking at playing f6 and e5, or you know, maybe some rook a4, or looking at different ideas. But it's an interesting Zugzwang. He didn't like that way of defending the position. But what he played after rook c8 was
Keith, I've got a suggestion from Friday. Was should white be thinking of playing rook a5? I guess it's in a position where the b pawn's not being defended, but
I've tried to time it so that he hasn't had a moment spare to play rook a5, because rook a5 would be a little bit of a nuisance. But for example, if we go back
when the
go
king
back to this position, so I played rook there, and this had an immediate threat of b4, so he stopped it with b4. I played rook g8. This had an immediate threat of g4, which he stopped with f3, and then I played king f5, which had an immediate threat of king f4, which he stopped with king e3, and then I played rook there. So I've not, in this whole sequence, I haven't given him a moment to actually play what would be a slightly annoying move for rook a5. Because I don't want him playing rook a5. I don't want him to tie me down, tie my rook down. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world if he played rook a5, but it's better for me if he doesn't play it. So I played rook g8, and he kind of starting to realise now that we're getting to the point where passive defence will leave him with a very unpleasant situation. You've got these Zugzwangs where I end up taking the A file off him, or these tricks on a C line where I can take his B pawn because the C pawn's pinned, or some position where I double up and he uses king to defend the pawn, and then my king starts making more inroads into his position via F4. So he didn't like any of that stuff, and he kind of decided this is the time to try and do something active. He doesn't want to just sit there. So he plays rook f1. And again, it's a difficult, one of the most difficult things in chess. Do you stay passive forever and let your opponent keep on improving their position? Or do you try and create some counterplay? It's a huge question that comes up all the time in all of our games. He decides he can't stand his position getting worse and worse. So he plays rook f1. I've carried on the obvious rook c7. And he plays f4. If the f file opens, then he's got play. Then he's doing something. I mean, if I take that, he goes rook takes check, king g5. He can I don't know, maybe play rook g4 check, king h5, and then his rook's quite well placed. My king's suddenly gone really silly on h5. So it's a big mistake to open the f file and let his rook in. So there's only really one move here, and that's g4. But g4 carries with it the threat of rook g8. Big threat of rook g8. If I can play rook g8, then I'll have threats of g takes h3, and then my rook would enter his position via either g3 or g2, and he would be in a lot of trouble. So he must take this quickly before I put my rook to g8 and enable me to take back with the rook. So he takes off, and the king takes, and rook f3, which is a multi-purpose move because he doesn't want my king making any more progress, my king coming into g3, and also he wants to defend the c pawn laterally. When I double up, he wants to be able to move his king away and have his rooks defending the pawn. But one thing that has happened here, while these weaknesses have resulted in him kind of scampering around with his rooks, his rooks have been disconnected. I mean, we started this sequence with not only him having a good king on d3 and me having a bad king on g8, but he had rooks that were very good on the a file, and his position has deteriorated because he's had to deal with the probings from both sides. He had to deal with the probing against c3. He had to deal with the probings against his king side, moves like g4, king penetrating. So the structural weaknesses have resulted in his pieces becoming weaker. Particularly his rooks, which are now disconnected. And now that the rooks are disconnected, I can have a lot more fun than when he's kind of controlling the only open file. So now that his rooks have been pushed away, I can simply steal the a file off him. So I play rook b7, and he just can't prevent me playing rook a7.
And unfortunately,
when,
he can't go
sorry.
rook a5 because of rook c3 check. So
Exactly, yeah, he can't do anything. The only square he can put that rook on is b3, and then I go rook a7. And with both rooks infiltrating, it'll be completely lost. With a weakness on f4, a weakness on g2, and a weakness on c3, and a weak king, he'll have no defense against my two rooks entering the position. So he can't. He must swap a rook off. He can't let both on. So and if he swaps a rook off, he can't let my rook come to a2 because that will win his g2 pawn. So he has to scamper back with his king, just to prepare to defend his weak pawns. Rook a7, and he must take, and I take back. Rook a7, and now we have yet another Zugzwang. So his rook's stuck, and if he moves his king, let's say he goes, well, it doesn't matter which one, he goes there, I go there, and then he goes there, so because he can't go anywhere else with the king, and he can't move his rook, so he plays like this. Then I just play a move like rook c2, well, exactly rook c2, and this is like yet another Zugzwang.
there was a question from Phil, Keith. Is White able to save a tempo by going instead of going rook f3? What was the suggestion?
Are we past this position?
Going.
Is this Ian, or is this Steve or Ian? Or,
I think when the rook's on.
Yeah, play to rook h1,
Phil.
rook f3.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I think rook h1 would be more active. I mean, I play in the same way. I play rook here, and again, he doesn't want to move his rook away completely. He doesn't want to move his h1 rook away to a1 because then he's allowing my king to go to g3. But yeah, this is more active. But let's say, I mean, where do you want to go now? Do you want to go h2 with the rook, or what do you want to play now?
Well, the idea is if you put your rook across and exchange rooks, he can go rook back to a1.
Yeah.
And if you don't do anything, he can go rook to h3, rook to h1, and the queen's rook over to h1.
Yeah. Okay. So So I go. So what will you play now? What will you play against rook b7? Will you just do a waiting move?
Well, I suppose we can go king 8 d3 even.
King d3 f4. Oh yeah. I think it's kind of on pre because if I take and you take on h4, I fork the rook and king with. I mean, it's complicated because he's got. I've got to be careful I don't suddenly expose my king to his rooks. But well, let's say for argument's sake, he can play king d3 just for the sake of a waiting move. So and let's say I then go there. Let's pretend that it's just this is possible. So would you now exchange the rooks or?
Yeah, it's you can't move the rook across to double them up now, can you?
No, because everything's too vulnerable, and so you need a good waiting move here. And I'm not sure what. You don't want my king to come to g3, so you need to keep that rook on h1 or maybe h3. But rook a7 is coming anyway, and White will have, I think, similar problems to what he had in the game, which is just difficulties defending f4, g2, and c3.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, rook h1 is. It's always good to try and just play the most active move. And rook h1 is the most active because it's kind of attacking my isolated h pawn. But I think I can still keep making progress even after rook h1. Rook f1, and so I play rook c7 and f4 and g4 and takes and rook f3 and I booted him off the a file. And this is where we get this Zugzwang. I mean, he didn't play king e1. I just wanted to show what happens if he plays king e1, which is I come here and then he goes here, and I come here and he's out of moves. His rook can't move. If his rook goes to h3 here, my king will go f4 and then into e3 with mate threats, and his whole position will drop off. He may win an f pawn somewhere in a sequence, but I'll take 3 pawns off him while he's doing that. So he can't let my king into the position. So his rook can't move, and his king can only go to G1. It can't go to E1 because G2 is on free. And after king there, then of course he gives me that square, and Rook E4 is coming, and I'm going to win a pawn. So we've got to the point now where he can't do nothing anymore. His position's got sufficiently bad that he can't.
Keith, there was a question from Tony. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah, I can only hear. I can't see. All I can see is the
Tony,
position on
do you
the board.
want to speak your question? Just press the space bar.
Or you can read out the type. Either of those is fine.
Hi, Keith.
Hi, mate. Hi.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Tony.
In the position after when you said you play Rook C2, I might miss a simple tactic, but does White have H3 in that position? So I think King's on F1 and you're threatening H2.
In this line or in the other
can Black play H3 here?
right now, yeah.
Yeah,
I could, but I mean, I'm kind of swapping off pawns. I mean, if I go here, he plays Rook takes. I play King takes. He goes Rook check. I go here,
okay,
and he takes this, and it's kind of. I mean, he's a pawn up, so he's definitely got drawing chances. I mean, he's Rook active now. If I go Rook C2, he may go Rook C7, or he may even go Rook B7 or Rook E7, and and given that I'm a pawn down, and given that some of these liquidating positions, they can be draws even when you're a pawn up. So it's a kind of selling out. I think it's a kind of selling out. When you're pretty much winning by force, it's a kind of risky way of converting it. But it's a very nice idea. It's a kind of thing that if his pawns are slightly different on the queen side, if his D pawn was on pre, it might be a very quick way of winning the game. So yeah, visually it's a nice idea. But I think the simple way is just to come take his pawns off him with Rook E2. And Rook E4. Yeah. So we've got to a position now where he can't defend passively anymore because this lug swing is unavoidable. He can't prevent me getting to that position. So he understands that, and so he in a kind of desperation really changes the whole nature of the position. Because up until now, I've kept my structure, which is so important to keep, this F7, E6, D5 structure. Hold on to that for as long as you can. I've kept my structure. I've come in from the sides. I've done everything right, and the end is near. So he now mixes it up. He now goes F5. It's a very good move, because suddenly what happens now is what was a kind of positional grind has now become a very different kind of game. It's now become a game where precise calculation comes into it. Certainly much more than before. I mean, I'd take that because otherwise he's freed himself for free. And now what we've got is a position where he's a pawn down, but suddenly my wonderful structure has now become 5 isolated pawns. And he plays a very good move, a Rook E3. And suddenly he's starting to liquidate. He's starting like Rook E5 and starting to take some of my pawns while I'm taking his pawns with some serious drawing chances. If I give him time, he can, once a few pawns get swapped off. I mean, H pawns and F pawns aren't particularly useful in these things. I mean, for example, you've got the classical situation of Rook and F and H against Rook. So a lot of those positions are draws. So, my pawns aren't particularly useful pawns for kind of stomping up the board with. So I need to win this tactic. I need to win it because my king's better. And the first move is, I don't need to think too much about it. It's just giving him a check, knowing he can't play Rook E2 because a king and pawn and he will be absolutely hopeless. So force his king back is very easy decision to make. King F1. And my next move is a very easy decision to make as well, F6, because I don't want him going Rook E5 unnecessarily. He doesn't, I'd rather him have to fight harder for those pawns. And so another good move, he plays Rook E6. Attacking a pawn. It's useful for him to get rid of one of my F pawns. If he leaves me both F pawns, then I can kind of swap one off and then use the other one to kind of shield my king into his position. Or sometimes I can go H3, and with 2 F pawns I can kind of go forward with the king and the front F pawn and use the behind F pawn to kind of stop some checks and again to generally do some useful shielding. So it'd be nice for him to get rid of one of my F pawns. And he's got to do something. So Rook E6 is a bit more threatening than Rook E7. He has to play one of those really. We're way beyond the point where passive defence will save him. I mean, if just for example, passive defence would be something like that, and and I would just keep on coming up the board. Okay, here, and then maybe here, and we're getting to one of those Zook swings again. I mean, he absolutely can't move his Rook now. With King and Pawn ending would be hopeless. And yeah, there's. I think I'm. I mean, I don't know if I've got this. I think I'm probably coming into this position here. I mean, one idea is King F5 to E4, and then Rook D3. Another is if he moves his King to G1 to play Rook E2, and then Rook E3. So yeah. If he plays passive, I'll just push the pawns and just come in and win. So he plays the most active move. You should always nearly always play the most active move in Rook and Pawn endings. It's not very often a good idea to defend your weaknesses passively. So he's got the right idea. So I play Rook C2, and he takes this one off. And Rook takes C3. And what he's relying on here is just swapping off as many pawns as possible. So he goes Rook D6, which looks like I can't save that pawn. The problem for black is if he even captures one of those two pawns, then he'll have very good drawn time. If he captures either the D5 pawn or the B5 pawn, he will then have a passed pawn. He'll then play like Rook to the 8th rank, push that passed pawn, look for a check. My king will have to go into hiding, and very good drawing chances. So even if I'm a pawn up, which I will be, starts taking those pawns, and one of those pawns very unclear. Yeah, better for black, but by no means forced to win. So I now need to be on my toes here to convert this. I don't want to swap off too many pawns. So he plays Rook D6, and well, actually, we'll do a little. What should I play now? So fingers on keypads. Where have I heard that before?
There was a suggestion from Phil. Perhaps Phil would like to press the space bar and say what the suggestion was. Phil?
Hi, Phil.
Yeah. Can you just go back to where he played Rook to E6 and play Rook to E8 instead? And leave both F pawns there and go after one of the D or B pawns.
Okay, so straight away go for them.
Yeah.
So silly thing. And go. You want to go here instead? Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, my first thought is to start by. I'm torn between playing H3 first and attacking these. Let's say I attack the C pawn first.
Okay, you go Rook to C8.
Okay, Rook. Just defend. I know you want to go Rook C5. Okay,
yeah.
So now I have to be quick, and so I'll go H3.
Okay, we'll have to take that.
You have to take that, and I'll go there. Now I've got a big threat.
Okay, and we can shift the king over to the queen side.
Yeah, and now I will simply push, and I'll say, what are you doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm going King E3 and F3. So,
well, we'll go to Rook C5 first.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to defend your pawn and hassle my pawns. Now the problem with this position, it's all based on how bad White's king is. The problem is that White's not just got to deal with my pawn advancing to queen. He's actually got to deal with serious mating threats.
Yeah.
So that's another mate threat. So how do you defend against
D1?
King D1? Yeah. Because against King F1, I just go F3. Now I think there's actually two. I think I can even sacrifice my rook here and play F3. And his rook's just not really stopping me queen and pawn. But that's a flashy way of doing it. But I guess I can also play. I can play check and then play F3, and he's just not in any position to stop my pawn going all the way. If he goes here, I'm going to gain a tempo, and I'm going to go F2 check and then rook D1 check.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it goes the other way, I'm going to play F3, and again, I'm going to win a rook very, very, very quickly.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Phil.
Cheers, Phil. Yeah, it's an important to have an answer to him playing actively with the rook. It's very important to have an answer to this kind of idea, and it's usually to play H3 and bring my king in, which actually means that I won't. Where are we? He played rook E6, didn't he? Yeah, I won't. I will actually. I'll play my nephew because I actually did play h3. No, I don't. We've seen the idea now, so I played h3. The idea is to just the h pawn. The h pawn is usually pretty useless in rook endings, unless it's some big outside pass corner. You've got a rook behind it, and the opponent's king is on the other side of the board. In general, h pawns are pretty useless in rook endings. But I just well, I played rook c2 first. He took off my f pawn. And rook c3. That's right. I played rook c3, and now he needs to attack my pawn before I attack his pawn. If he gives me one tempo here, I will play rook c4. He just plays some random move. I'll just play rook c4, and then whichever pawn he attacks, I will take the one that will enable me to defend it. So then I'll just end up winning all the pawns. So he needs to act quick. So he needs to attack one of my pawns quickly. So he goes after this one. He goes rook d6. And I played this h3 move. Important to make my king good. Because I can. GH. And king f3, threatening the mate. There's no bodies in taking the h pawn. It's just it's an irrelevance. King f3. And well, the first thing that strikes you about this position is the relative position of the kings. If we think back to when he first brought his king to d3 to defend his centre, defend his c3. And at that moment, my king was on g8. But this has been enabled to happen because he's always been reacting against my probing against weaknesses. He's always been reacting against threats against c3, threats to create holes on the king side with g4, and then threats to invade with my king via f5 and f4. So it was almost inherent in the nature of the position that his king wasn't really as stable as it looked when it was on d3, whereas my king, when it was on g8, had a very natural route into the game, which it was very difficult for him to prevent. So it's quite visual, the difference between the kings then compared to now. And my king up on f3 enables me to actually basically to force a win of all his pawns by capturing his pawns with mating threats. So he played, I played king f3, and he played king. I'm threatening mate. If it goes that way, then whoever's first can say what's wrong with that move. If one of you wants to just either type or open their communication and verbal communication and say what move I play here.
King e3.
King e3, yeah. And king e3 combines the threat of mate on c1 with king takes d4, and when he'll just start losing pawn after pawn. So he can't go to e1. So by elimination, he goes to g1, and now it's a little combination. This is maybe the hardest. It's maybe the most difficult moment of the game. This is main line. But this is the most difficult combination of the game, but it's very, very important. I mean, I can maybe win this in a messy way with king e4, rook b6, king takes d4, rook takes b5. So I can maybe win in a messy way like this. I'm not sure. It could be winning, but I don't know. It's 2 pawns each. He's going to go rook b8. He's going to push his pawn. He's got this h pawn to, well, I can take the h pawn now, but my pawns are broken. It's not always easy to push broken pawns. He'll put his rook to the 8th. He'll check me whenever I get my king exposed. He'll push his b pawn. He'll start attacking my pawns at the same time. I'll be distracted by the b pawn. And real drawing chances. So I don't want to get sucked into something like that. That absolutely is not the way to convert this. But after king g1, there's a mini combination here. It's the hardest moment in the game. You've got to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got to see like 6 or 7 moves ahead. They're not difficult moves, but there's a lot of them. But I don't know if you want to have a little go at this. The next, so anybody can find the next sequence of, let's say, 1, 2, 3. The sequence of 4 moves, let's say.
Let's give everyone a minute to think about it. Although in the game you'd probably want more than that.
Yeah, you want to make sure. Yeah. Well, actually, some of the moves are moves you'd play anyway. But yeah, it's been interesting to see whether or to try and visualise the next 4 moves from here.
Okay, would anyone like to make a suggestion?
King G3.
King G3. He can. I mean, King G3 is a perfectly decent move. It's a perfectly good move. It threatens mate, and obviously can't take the D. He can't take the D pawn. I mean, I think that he will either go King F1 with the idea of Rook takes D5, or perhaps stronger is to check, hoping to repeat. If King F3, which is the repetition, goes back to D6. If King takes pawn, I don't know. Is this a bit awkward? Is that a bit messy? It kind of looks a bit.
Rook C5, Rook C4 now.
Rook C4, and then okay, then we reduce to then we go here, and then you take that one, I guess. You have to otherwise.
Or Rook G3 to trade the rooks.
Rook G.
Okay, back another move.
Okay. And a bit more, or.
Yeah.
It is okay, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Rook G3 would just win on spot here. You were spot on. So yeah, Rook G3 completely busts Rook G5. Probably let's say Rook here. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say by any means that Black's drawing that White's now drawing this, but I can't say for certain that I'm winning either. Or I may be winning. It kind of feels like I ought to be winning, but it's a little bit of it's kind of annoying that my king's been kicked to the side just for the sake of his H pawn. I don't think it's a trivial win here anymore.
I think Tony had a suggestion. If you roll it back a bit.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying this is wrong. It's not. It's probably not the cleanest. I think the solution of the game is probably the cleanest. There's absolutely no doubt here. There's a little bit of doubt. I mean, maybe there's some King G3 may end up getting there. But yeah, okay. So that's a King G3 is a perfectly good move. I don't think it throws the win away. So I'm not 100% sure. But okay, so King G1, and we're in a position.
Rook C1 check first.
Yeah, Rook C1 check. It's a very good move because you're improving the Rook.
And Rook back to C5.
Oh, you mean C4?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean you're certainly right about the first move. After Rook there, is this a problem?
Don't know.
Because you're running out of pawns. I mean, I'll take that.
No, bring the king back a square first.
Okay, so you want to come back to E4.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then you're dropping that one, and so I'm putting all my eggs in a basket of one F pawn. So it's kind of simplifying a little bit.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work then.
So yeah, it doesn't.
I was thinking the same. Rook C1 check first, and then after King H2, then Rook C2 check.
Yeah, those two moves. Actually, you can play without knowing that you're in the middle of a winning combination, because those two moves simply improve the Rook. Like the Rook started on C3, and after those two checks, the Rook's on C2, which is a better square. It's much more flexible on C2. It can do much more damage. So anyway, those two moves are the best two moves, and incidentally, you are right as well. That is how the combination starts. And if he plays King H1, let's deal with King H1 first. It's quite a nice little move here. All the time, it's based on how bad his king is, how much more dominant my king is. Absolutely.
We've got time to play F4 there.
Yeah, I think F4 may well win, but it requires some very, very precise calculation, and I can't say for sure it's winning. It's a long way between. You've still got a long way to go to queen that pawn, and very soon it's going to be the only pawn I've got. I can't say for sure that this is winning. But an engine might say it is winning. It may be winning, but you see, it's not. There's no straightforward, easy to analyse. This is just winning about this. You've got to find some if this is winning, you've got to find some very clever moves. There's no clear way. You're trying to get that F pawn through, but there's a lot lot of obstacles to it. There's going to be king g1. There's going to be a whole series of checks when the king comes out. So it's a very, very complex way of trying to win it, and it may be winning, it may not be winning. But so rook c1 check. Where are we? Okay, rook c1 check, king h2, rook c2 check. These two moves are correct. Now, so we're dealing with king h1. There's a nice idea based on the very extreme vulnerability of his king, and the fact that his rook is going to be out of the game to some extent when it captures my d pawn. So you think about all those ingredients. There's a very nice move here. My opponent wants to play rook takes d5, and if it was his move now, he could play rook takes d5. Actually, sorry. Excuse me. That's not true. If it's his move here, and this is a big clue, if it's his move here, he can't play rook takes d5. And why can't he play rook takes d5? Somebody just say king g3 is mate. It's forced mate. Actually, it's not because it's not because in this particular position he would have a fluke. In this particular position, if it was white to play, white would go rook takes d5, black would go king g3, white would have a fluke, white would have rook c5, stopping the mate. So in fact, white is very, very much threatening to. Sorry, where are we? Rook c2. White is very, very much threatening to play rook takes d5 here because I don't have a mate. Because of this fluky rook c5, and then the rook can go to the back rank and defend against.
What do you king g3 in this position, Keith?
Rook to
king to g3. I beg your pardon.
And again, it's kind of we're back to. Actually, I think we transposed to our last idea, which is this check's just a bit annoying because my king's been booted to the side. King back is a kind of repetition. King takes pawn, rook back to d6. So king takes pawn, there's a rook check. I mean, yeah, I can play these moves. I can play them. I mean, maybe I can come and take that pawn. Maybe I can. Maybe king h1 is such a bad king that I actually can just improve my position by eliminating his h pawn, and then I'll end up doing what I did in the game anyway with his h pawn gun. So it's a tidying up way of winning. Just take the h pawn and then do what I did. But either way, you still need to find the same winning idea.
Rook to b2, sorry.
Rook to
b2.
Did you say e2 or d2?
b2.
d2. b2. Oh, sorry, b2. Okay, well, if you go rook b2 and he takes, and now he's forking.
g3.
King g3 now. Oh, yeah. And you haven't got rook c5. Aha, good spot. Yeah, so rook b2. Yeah, good, nice spot. Maybe, I don't know, h4. It seems a strange move, I don't know. Let's try h4.
What are you going to get? Okay, right, yeah.
I'm just going to try and push that pawn and be a nuisance with that pawn. A rook takes pawn, I'm going to go h5 and just say, I don't care about losing those two pawns. I'm going to get a rook, pawn to 7. I'm going to try and use it to exchange some pawns indirectly. I don't know. It's maybe a nuisance. Maybe the h pawn got the board is a little bit of a nuisance.
In that position, does the pawn just not get picked off with king g3 now?
Okay, yeah. King g3.
He has to play.
Yeah. That's forced, isn't it? Rook checks forced. And king takes. Yeah. Yeah. And now king g1 and rook takes b4. And all the pawns are going to go. So the king is actually very bad on h1, isn't it? So now, if rook there, then you go. So yeah, either you find another way to just take the h pawn for free. Yeah, you can simply take the h pawn and then come back and win the game. Either the way I did it or another way. So yeah, I can't fault that plan. You're just taking a time out to get rid of white straddler. Yeah, so you found a perfectly good alternative win. So that's very nice. That's very nice. So you can just simply attack the b pawn here. Yeah, look there. It's white's king is just very bad. So yeah, you can do it that way because rook d5 isn't possible. So basically, king h1 is a very bad move. And what I intended against king h1 for what it's worth is I intended to play where are we? I intended to play rook d2 And it's quite thematic because it's basically I want to take the pawn that when I capture it will be defending the pawn that he's attacking. So and it's based on the fact that he can't play this because of this again. That really is forced, mate. And the moment he can't take that, I'm gonna be able to play rook takes d4, and I'm just gonna harvest one by one all the pawns. So yeah, king h1 is basically a bad move. So back to this sequence again then. So rook c1 check, king h2, rook c2 check. And so we've established that for a number of reasons, king h1 is very poor. So he plays, he plays king g1. Okay, so yeah, he plays king g1. And now this next move is the key move in this little mini combination. So if anybody wants to just...
Can you check on C1?
Yeah, king h2.
King h2. Can you play king f2 with the idea of rook g1? And
there's a small problem. There's a small problem, and that is the f pawn is undefended. So you're going to lose the f pawn with check.
Can you play rook g2 check?
We're going back to the So I think that the king f2 is just it's a shame to just give up the f pawn like that, and then when the f pawn goes, then the other pawns are going to be vulnerable again. So yeah, so after and actually and bear in mind as well, this was the starting position. So actually rooks it's actually transposing after rook check king. Now this is the position we had anyway, and then I played rook c2 check, and we've established king h1 loses for multiple reasons. He actually played king g1, and yeah, was it Colin? Which one of these?
Me, Paul. Rook
oh,
G2
sorry, Paul.
check.
Sorry, Paul. So, yeah, rook g2. You're absolutely spot on. Rook g2. That's the key move. Rook g2 check, because you're either forcing the king to go where we already know it's horrible, which is h1. After king h1, we already know that rook d2 wins because of the mating threats. Because he then can't play rook d5. So therefore, we know he has to go to f1, and after king f1. In fact, actually, he played king h1 in the game, but after king f1, now we've got the kind of knockout blow.
You've still got rook d2.
Yeah, so it's exactly rook d2, and now we've got a series of checks: rook c1 check, rook c2 check, and the important rook g2 check. We've kind of forced the king to the worst possible square, and now we can play this with tempo. He's got to defend against the mate, and then we harvest. Then we start taking his pawns off him, and he'll just lose because he hasn't got pawns. So yeah, absolutely right. So in fact, because of he actually, well, it doesn't really matter which way he goes. But he actually went king h1 after rook g2 check, and of course this move anyway, rook d2, and we know rook d5 isn't possible because of king g3. He can't do nothing, so he just tries to attack this one. And I know did the little harvest, which actually one of you suggested earlier. This little harvest it's never a bad idea to do this little harvest. Just get rid of his h pawn. So I went there. He has to play rook g6 check. I went there threatening the mate, so check. And I went there threatening the mate, and he checked. And I played king f3. And there's no point in him attacking my f pawn because I just move it. There's no point in him attacking my d pawn because I take his d pawn, defending my d pawn. So the only thing left for him to do is to attack the b pawn. So he played rook b6, and then there was only one more move in the game. And what was that move? Don't look for anything too clever because it's not a clever move.
f4.
Oh, f4 is bound to win. So I'm not. That's absolutely that cannot be wrong. It's not the move I played, but f4 is bound to win. I'm going to play f4, and I'm going to kind of take off him anyway, and he still can't play rook takes b5. So f4 would win. So, yeah, can't fault that.
Rook takes d4. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I just played rook takes d4, and it's the same old problem. He resigned here because the same old problem. If he goes rook takes b5, then I go king g3, and again it's forced mate. Yeah, and go there, and again he absolutely cannot stop mate. So yeah, so after rook takes d4, he resigned because if he doesn't take, then I'm going to just win all his pawns. I'm going to get 3 pawns up in a few moves. I'm just going to support my pawns with my king, and then take his last pawn with 3 pawns up, so he stops. So yeah, that's the end of that. It was a successful probe against weaknesses.
Okay, I think that was a very instructive game, Keith, and
That's good.
yeah, very, very nicely played. I think double rook endings are. I always struggle to work out whether I should leave 2 rooks on or swap a pair of rooks off. But
I thought bishop f6 was a very interesting move. In that
yeah, I never predicted that when we looked at it earlier.
I would not have thought of that move, but it freed a rook from defending the e-pawn, and it allowed you to play g5 and h4.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think you've pinpointed a very key moment in the game. It supported g5, it supported my e-pawn, and exactly as you say, yeah, and h4. It was a very useful move, and it's probably the move that prompted him to get rid of that bishop soon afterwards. I think he had enough of that bishop soon after that, because he realised my bishop was quite a useful and a multi-purpose piece. But yeah, that was a key move. I think another key move was probably rook g8. I think rook g8, just extracting that further weakening from him, that extracting f3 from him, which gave me that kind of route into his position.
Okay.
Via f4.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great. Can I suggest it's now almost 9:30. What I'm going to suggest is we have a natural break and then resume at 9:30. I think there's
perfect for me.
You've got a second game which won't take as long, I think.
The second games are fun. The second games are fun. It's a more of a fun thing. I mean, it's not very. I wouldn't say it's got any level of instruction in it, but it's a kind of fun game. It's a game I quite enjoy showing, and it's a rare case of Arkell attacking in the middle game. So
okay. So is everyone happy to resume at 9:30? I'm just gonna, we'll have a natural break.
Yeah.
Come back at 9:30. Yeah. Okay. Is that okay, Keith?
Yeah,
yes, fine by me.
Yeah. Okay, let's do
Brilliant.
that.
Cheers, everybody. See you in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes. 3
Yeah.
minutes. In a tournament on Sunday, which I actually posted the position from it on my Facebook wall, and I managed to play it in 1 minute and 32 seconds for the whole game. And the reason was because it's pattern recognition. I've played hundreds and hundreds, probably more than 1,000 rook endings, internet stuff and blitz and everything, and you very much get used to the kind of move that is required and the kind of plan that's required. According to the pawn structure, according to the other details in the position. So a lot of chess you can play on. I'm not going to say. I mean, it sounds rather arrogant to say autopilot. There's a lot of the kind of positions that I play. The kind of position with kind of very logical, straightforward, easy to explain, easy to understand micro plans. Those kind of positions are. There's nothing surprising to worry about. There's no hidden subtleties that's like a lifetime of playing these kind of positions hasn't kind of revealed itself to me a long time ago. So it's I'd say the first half of that ending, first 2/3 of that ending, there's very little calculation, just lots of little 2-move sequences, lots of little kind of I go there, he goes there, and I go there, and that's improved my position. Loads of that, but very few until it gets complicated. To try and make it messy. Until then, there's probably not a single moment when I've thought more than 2 moves ahead. But while I'm only thinking 2 moves ahead, I'm thinking conceptually, as you say. I'm thinking way ahead. I'm thinking about structures that we're going to have way down the road, and everything's going to move our way towards. For example, some of those Zux frames. The moment when I force the A file off him. Well, I'm only looking 2 moves ahead, winning the A file. That's all we need to see ahead. But conceptually, I know that then my rook will come into his position, he'll get into sugswang, his king's not going to move anywhere. I can then make further inroads on c2, then e2, then e4. So that's all kind of like a kind of paint by numbers, chess by numbers. So I'm not analysing, I'm not doing I go there, he goes there, I go there, he goes there. I'm doing this is my plan, and there's nothing he can do to stop that plan.
Okay, great. I think if everyone's back, we can resume. The second game, I think we'll probably have to skip past the opening fairly rapidly because...
yeah, I'll aim to finish it by, I don't know, quarter past 10, something like that. Is anybody, would that be bad for anybody if I went 15 minutes past? I mean, we were originally scheduled to finish at 10. If I went a little bit past 10, would I lose anybody? Because if I'm going to lose people, I can actually do the thing in half an hour. I can do, I can.
I suspect most people will be happy to be here till 10:50. If they have to leave, they'll leave, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, well, let's plus. If we're all here, let's soldier on it. So this game was played in the Surrey Easter Congress in 1996, and it's a very strong tournament. I mean, in that tournament, I had to play John Ems, who I managed to beat. I beat a young Simon Williams, who wasn't anything like the ferocious, incredibly talented. Well, he's always talented, but ferocious, strong monster that he is now, and a very, very strong GM now. I think John Ems was maybe about to become a GM. I think we both became GMs around about that time. And and my draw was against Mark Ferguson. And this was a critical game. Both Julian Hodgson and myself were on 4 out of 4. And we were both our peak ratings at the time. Julian was 26-15 and I was 25-45. And black against Julian was always a scary proposition because he's such a good attacking player, so fantastic with the initiative. And deciding what to do right from the start of the game is not easy against Julian. So he began the game with d4. Now, already I'm thinking, I can't play knight f6. He'll go bishop g5. He'll unleash the Trumpovsky against me. And he scored he scored so well with that opening, understood it so well. That I can't have a trump. So I played e6. Completely. And now Julian's thinking, I played a trump. I don't play them. That's my main queen pawn opening. The trump, I can't play the trump. So, but I don't want to go c4 because then Keith will go something like bishop b4 check or even knight f6, and we haven't got normal trump positions anymore. So he could go knight f3, but it's not knight f3, knight f6 trump isn't quite the same. After knight f3, knight f6, bishop g5, c5, that's more options than against 2 bishop g5. So then Julian gets a little bit clever back. He goes e4. Julian can play both one e4 and one d4. And so I'm now forced to play d5. And Julian knows that he knew that when I played the French, apart from in my very early days before I even discovered the Caro-Kann, when I played the French, I would always play the Fort Knox, which is, by the way, it's anything but a Fort Knox. It's a horrible position. It's very, very shaky. There's all sorts of ways one can try and
it might just be worth pointing out what the Fort Knox is, because some people might not know what it is.
I was literally about to sorry, John, I was literally about to the Fort Knox is where they go either knight c3 or knight d2, and I take and they take back and I go bishop d7. And I spent all my Frenchies were like this. It's very solid. Again, it's this thing about swapping the e pawn for the d pawn and then swapping off pieces and then trying to get c5 in and so on and so on. Just one little point about that whole system of play. I'm not going to dwell much on the opening this time, but in a position like this where black eventually plays c5 and swaps the c pawn for the d pawn, then black has a minority on the queen side. All the old books talk about the queenside majority as being an advantage. Well, that's mostly wrong. The queenside majority, for the majority of cases, is a disadvantage. And if that wasn't the case, then why would anybody ever play the Sicilian? Because in the Sicilian, you swap the c pawn for the d pawn, and then all the textbooks correctly say that if black can achieve the move d5 against the Sicilian, black's not just equal but better. And that results again in the minority on the queen side for black against white's 3. So yeah, you can use proofs like that to show that in general in middle games and complex end games, it's usually the player with the minority of the queen side who has the upper hand. That's my belief. I mean, maybe some people will argue with me, but that's kind of how I see chess. But anyway, so Julian knows I've played a Fort Knox. The idea is you bring this bishop to here, and eventually you bring this knight to here, and you start swapping pieces off. This bishop on c6 will eventually swap off one of those two knights, and then you'll do that same old setup again of pawn on e6, pawn on c6, which you can only do when you've got rid of that bishop, and so on. I used to, I play that a lot. I still do today. It's very solid. Well, I mean, it's very solid. It's hoping to be very solid, but like I said, there are ways that white can try and destroy it, which we won't go into now. So Julian didn't want me playing Fort Knox, so he played the advance. So by move 3, I think we were both pretty much on our own. I had very little experience against the advance and knew very little theory. I don't think Julian's normal way of playing against the French was to play the advance. So we just both go along now. We know some of the ideas, but I'm not sure either of us knew precise theory from sort of a few moves down the road. So he plays a c3 and knight c6, and he plays knight f3 and queen b6, and this is where some players plan to give up a pawn by going bishop d3 and bishop d7. They sack the d pawn, Milner Barragan. He played a3, which is a principled move. He wants to play b4. He doesn't want me using the b4 square. He wants to gain space at b4, but the drawback of a3, and this is all quite normal stuff, the drawback of a3 is c4, a move that you wouldn't dream of playing normally with black, because it would just run into b3, and black would lose the whole centre. White would keep on capturing towards the left, which we know is according to the hierarchy of pawns, we know that that's good for the player capturing to the left. So, for example, if he played some other move, like, I don't know, something like this, and I went there, and he'd just go there, and all these captures towards the left would leave black in a positionally unpleasant situation. Because white's black centre will soon come under pressure, and that's got a very fluid pawn structure. So c4 is a bad move normally, but because my opponent's played a3, c4 is playable, because if he does manage b3 at some point, at least he can't take over the pawn. So I will have some secure squares. I'll have secure square on c4. I'll have maybe some pressure down on c4. So I played c4, and Julian played knight bd2 and knight a5, trying to discourage b4. And Julian grabs space on the king side. This is all very, very normal idea. Even if he castles over there and I castle on the queen side, even then it's quite normal for white to play on the king side while black plays on the queen side. We both play where we've got more space. So we play bishop d7. He played perhaps a little bit greedily with h5. I'm not sure. Somewhere around here, I don't think he plays the best moves, and he lets me get quite a nice position. Trying to read my score sheet. Oh yeah, I castled in this position. Julian played. I'm going to put the light a bit brighter so I can read my score sheet. Julian played g3, and I need to organise my king side a little bit. At the moment, I've got this knight on g8 and a bishop on f8, and they're kind of in each other's way. I want to get them both out. If I put one of them to e7 and the other one can't go there, if I put the knight to e7 and then to f5, it's going to get kicked through g4. So I need to kind of make way for them to have squares. So I played f5 first, and this is kind of exploiting the fact that I wouldn't mind a draw. I'd be very happy with a draw in this position. We're both on 4 out of 4. I got black against the strongest player in the tournament. At this point, I'm playing f5 because I don't mind if we have either something very turgid. Julian likes open. Julian's good at all positions, but Julian likes open attacking play. So I didn't think this would be. I didn't think not taking that would be to his taste. His only plans are organising b3 or organising g4. it's all very slow. And so Julian took on passons. Just incidentally, if he doesn't take, I've at least got some squares for my pieces now. I can play, maybe put the knight on h6 without worrying about it getting pushed back, and I can put the bishop on e7. So I can get my pieces out now if he does nothing, which at least is some kind of improvement on not playing f5. So f5, g3, where are we? So f5 he took on passant, and I took back with the pawn. I want to control the e5 square if I can. And played bishop h3. Give him time. If he has time to castle and play rook e1, might tend to make him under some pressure. I need to act quick. So I played bishop d6. Castle. King's not a completely happy bunny in this position. His king's rather, I think he was a little bit over ambitious with his h5 move. I think he's given me some time to build up quite a nice position in the centre. So e5, he swaps rook, and he needs to do something quick. So he plays rook b1, and I also need to do something quick if he wants to go b3 and get some open lines against my king. So I played e4, knight h4. He'd like to go knight f5 at some point. So I prevented that with knight e7. And b3. So first difficult moment. So I guess we can open this one up to you guys. And what would you play? What are the candidate moves? What would you actually play? Black here.
Queen c7.
Yeah, I played good shot. I played Queen c7. Yeah, nice one, Paul. Yeah, was that Paul? Was that Paul? Yeah. So yeah, nice one, Paul. Yeah. I played Queen c7. I could also play e3, which is interesting, and then take on g3, or maybe even gang up on the or take on b3. But yeah, I played Queen c7 because he supports c4 and gets away from his rook, and aims at his king. But yeah, Queen c7. He took, and now what did I play? Anybody, Paul or anyone else?
Bishop takes g3.
It's very tempting. It's really tempting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if I take, he takes. I take, he goes there. I go there. Maybe he can defend with Queen e2, and he's got his pieces sort of near his king, and I can't really improve on this for a while. I've got to move the knight out of the way and then bring the other rook in, and he'll defend. Even by playing rook b2 and moving the knight somewhere like b1 or b3, he can sort of overprotect g2, and I don't think it quite works. Yeah, it's a real tempter, but I kind of did it the way without having to give up anything. I played e3.
Yeah.
And takes, and I mean on the surface it looks like I'm really doing well here against his king, but while I'm opening his king up, he has got pieces around it, and he has. I've basically given up on the centre. I've given up on holding. I mean, his pawn's gone to b3 and gone to c4, and it's developing quite a massive pawns in the middle. I've given up that possible, but I'm trying to really have a go at his king. So bishop takes g3. He moves to the attack knight, and rook g8, which is doesn't need too much thinking about. And Queen e2, all hands on deck. And okay, we'll have another little. We'll pass the buck to you guys again. So, what are your thoughts? And what actual move would you play? Either of those, just the move, or what are your thoughts? What would you like to do? What would you like? What would you like to do as the next stage of building up the attack? Where would you like to put things, given time, given enough time?
Move the knight and double the rooks.
Move the knight on top of the rooks.
Where you
No,
can
move the knight away and then double the rooks.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. This is what I need to do. I need to move the knight away. It doesn't matter where I move it. Just move it away. So, well, and it's not that difficult then to decide where to move it to, because only one square doesn't give it up immediately. So I played knight c6. I just get it out of the way. It's just a nuisance, that knight. It's not going to participate in the game. There's no route for it to participate. Just move it out of the way. And so he carries on. He attacks the knight. And now what?
Sorry, just going back a moment, as an alternative to moving the knight and doubling the rooks, is there any mileage in bishop h2 followed up by queen g3 and queen h3?
Yeah. The problem is that I've still only got 3 pieces near him, so he's got the forces to get rid of me. So if I go there, he can go there, and he's actually trapped my bishop. He's trapped my bishop. So after queen h3, he can simply take that, and he's got. I can't attack him. I can't bring any more forces into the attack. I can't play. I mean, if I go knight f5, he may just take that off. And he's got rook b2 as a defensive move. So I've kind of, I've only got a queen and a rook left, and I think I've maybe just given up too much.
No, the knight move stops it. Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, but it's what I want to do. Certainly, it's what I'd like to do. But I just think it's not practical at the moment. So I get that knight out of the way. He takes, and so.
Oh, does it stop it entirely? Because you can go bishop check and then rook into g3.
Okay, bishop check, king here.
Rook into g3.
Yeah, rook g3. This looks interesting. But can he again play this move though? Can he again just? Okay, now I take your point, because now.
No, you got rook
h3. Yeah, now rook h3 threatens to move the bishop. I mean, paradoxically, it's not clear where it threatens to move the bishop to. So, I mean, I don't know. He may be able to just do some move here. Just I don't. What move? I don't know.
Well, you got knight f5 in next.
Yeah, knight f5. You're absolutely right. Yeah, he needs to. He needs to do something here. You're right. Yeah, he needs to do something. What about knight g1? Is the king going to survive that?
Well, you can still go knight. Oh, you can't. Can you go knight? No, you can't go knight.
Yeah, no, you can't go knight f5 now because it's squares attacked. I mean, you can. I think the only attacking move left is bishop g1 check. Actually, no. Sorry, bishop g1. Yeah, bishop g1 check is legal because the rook's attacked. So I don't think you've got time to move the rook because you can't go to h4 and you can't go to h5. And if you go anywhere else, you're just going backwards. You're just allowing knight f3. So this is an attacking move. It may be enough for a draw.
Oh, queen check.
Yep. Yeah, this may be enough for a draw by some strange quirk. But I'm not sure. Is it? Maybe there's more. I don't know. But he can, one thing he can do is he can defend with everything on the second rank. He can play rook b2 and rook f2. Maybe some e4 to give himself the bishop f4 defense. But maybe. I mean, the whole attack is speculative. I mean, it's not an attack that. It's a slow burner attack.
Well, you got knight takes c pawn now.
Knight takes c pawn, yeah, and this is actually we've not given anything up, have we? Oh, this seems very good. I've not given anything up here. This looks very promising. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I can't argue with this. I really like my position now. Then I'm going to play knight c6 and then bring. This looks very good. I don't know if there's any movement right at the start of that sequence. But yeah, I like this idea. Yeah, so bishop
instead of knight g1, knight f4. Oh, right.
Yeah, I like this. It's great. Oh, what about if he does this? Because I've only really got the queen and the rook and the bishop attacking at the moment. So does that kind of interfere with the idea? And there's also knight f1 in the air.
Don't know. And you can't play knight f5 now, can you?
Hmm. It's quite scary. But okay, knight f1. But no, that attacks everything. That attacks f5, h2, and g3. I don't know. And I'm a piece down, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, you get some. You can sometimes these kind of things just break through. I mean, like maybe rook g7 and some weird breakthrough. But I do feel like White's got a lot of squares defending. It's not going to be trivial to get through all that. But yeah, it's a good. I mean, bishop h2 is worth a good look. And I mean, I don't claim that what I played was winning. I only claim it's a slow burning attack. It's a slow building attack where I can't rush my piece over there, but he can't rush. He can't do any spectacular defensive moves. So we just both build up. Me defending me. But yeah, bishop h2 is an interesting idea. Maybe this kind of stuff defends against it. But I'm not going to say for sure that's the case. But yeah, so I played knight ec6. And
he played c takes d.
Yeah, he played cd. And I doubled the rooks. I just ignored the knight. Yeah, so I've jumped ahead of moves. So yeah, my move. I just ignored the knight. I just wanted to get my rooks in as quick as possible. So I doubled the rooks, and he kind of didn't. He kind of believed me a little bit here. He didn't like. I mean, for a start, he's got to worry about here, and it's mated to go to king f2. So here, takes, check. And here, he's got to worry about this, and nobody wants to play this position. Nobody wants to, you're analysing in your head to this position, and then you're giving your opponent discovered checks everywhere. He's a queen up, his queen's right in your position. He doesn't, just one of my possibilities is this, and I think that would be enough to scare him off, even though I think this position is still a little bit unclear. I'm threatening bishop f4, then bishop e3, but he's got moves. But yeah, very, very unclear. I mean, if he moves his knight, maybe I just move the bishop and slowly build up the attack with knight c4. I don't know, but I've not sacrificed anything here. I mean, maybe a pawn or two, but so yeah, this is one thing he has to worry about if he takes the knight. So again, he plays, and there's maybe other things as well. So he plays. He doesn't rush into taking it. He plays knight f3, which is very sensible. Stopping the bishop h2 check and clearing the way to bring his other rook across via b2 to add protection to g2. And well, okay. Well, this is an interesting moment because I think I didn't realize at the time, but I had kind of two similar kind of moves here, and I think I probably made the wrong decision. But as it's a slow burner attack, it's not critical that at this moment that I play. It's not even critical that I play the most accurate moves, but it's important that I play the right kind of move. And so actually, I think I probably played the second best move here, but the attack was still very strong anyway. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys come up with, here for my next move.
Knight e7.
I understand what the idea is. I definitely understand what the idea is. You want to go to f5. So okay, let's say e4. And you're not getting there with a knight, are you? You're not threatening to go anywhere. You've kind of put it back in the way again of things. So you got the rook across, I guess, but I don't think that knight's going anywhere. And you've still got this one big piece that you're not involving yet.
Didn't I earlier when we looked at this, Keith? Didn't I suggest Queen D7? Is that, I can't remember now.
You absolutely suggested
Yeah.
Queen D7.
Yeah.
And Queen D7, I think is the best move because it just goes to H3 next and adds a lot of pressure to the attack. The move I played was Queen F7. It's also pretty good, but I'm kind of taking longer to get to H3, but I'm taking off the H pawn on routes. But I think Queen D7 is marginally better move.
So who was it criticised this move then, Keith? Perhaps you.
Well, what I was quite pleased with the game afterwards, and I was showing it to anybody who would be an audience, and I was showing it to Harriet Hunt, Harriet and her mum Caro, and Harriet kind of I asked her to guess my move, and she said Queen D7. I said wrong. and I said, but nearly. And I said, and I said my move, and then she just said, well, Queen D7 is going straight to H3, and you're just you're getting straight into the attack. And I had to admit that she was right. She's not the best woman player in the country for nothing. She was absolutely right. Queen D7 to H3 was just, it's a little bit more precise. The H pawn doesn't matter. But I didn't. Oh, it is. I didn't even see Queen D7 because I planned Queen F7, so I just played the move that I planned. So unfortunately, it's quite unpleasant for white anyway in practice. So I played Queen. I played Queen D7. Queen F7, and my opponent took the thing off. It might as well be material ahead. And Queen H5. And he might as well take this one as well. And of course, King B8. It'd be a huge mistake to take that with anything. If you take that with something, then you allow him moves like Queen H6, your Queen A6 rather. You're giving him a free attack. But this calmly took the king on B8. And now, interestingly, my king looks really horribly exposed. And his king's got all pieces around it, but his king is by far the weaker of the two kings. And he's also two pawns and a piece ahead. But it's one of those positions where you can still do it patiently. You can still build up slowly. So he played Rook B2, very natural, normal move. You can't do too much. You can't move either the knights. You can't improve the queen. You can't move the rook on F1, and he can't do anything useful yet with the bishop on C1. So he plays the most useful move, defends his overprotects the weakness on G2, and one move too late. I arrived on H4 with my queen. And again, it's a very, very strange position because he can't, there's no obvious defensive move that he can like rush into. I mean, what can white do here? Anybody got any idea? Just what next move can he play? How can he improve anything? What can he improve?
E4.
Can't move. E4, yeah. E4 is very obvious. That's what Julian played. It's just yeah. He can't move his pieces, so he moves. And not only that, but it's the second time he's played that move in this game. He played it on move 2. He's playing it on move 27. So and now we're getting to real critical moments. And I think this move and this move, which is move 27, and my 30th move are, I think, the most difficult moves in the game. So maybe have like 2 or 3 minutes for this one. Maybe even, I don't know, John, 2 minutes, 3 minutes perhaps, I don't know, 2.5 minutes. Black to play and dramatically improve the position.
Yeah, this is a big moment now.
Yeah, have a good
So
2.5 minutes.
This is a pause the video moment, really.
Mm-hmm.
One others are thinking about that as an alternative to E4. Shouldn't white have played Rook F2 and just sack the rook? He's up material. We don't want giving up the exchange, and his king can get out.
You're giving up a queen as well. So if you're going, I mean, it's an interesting idea. Yeah, I mean, rook f2 is a very interesting idea. But let's say black just cashes in the material. Let's say black, maybe knight c4 here first, and then rook. We'll just. What is the material balance here? I think black's just winning on material. Yeah, black's just winning on material. Black's got a queen for a rook.
Yeah,
and there's no checks. The bishop can't come into the game. So yeah, it's a principled idea, but doesn't work tactically. So yeah, I think e4 is quite a reasonable try. We'll give you guys maybe further 2 minutes or so from here, because it's just a very big moment in the game.
What are you drinking, Keith?
This is advertising. This is going on YouTube. Krabby's.
Okay. Well,
Krabby's original alcoholic-free ginger beer, except for it's not alcohol-free. It's alcoholic ginger beer. Okay. Without the word free in there.
That's your new sponsor.
Well, yeah, it will be now. But 4%, tastes delicious. It's a good afternoon drink, actually, even though we're now in the evening.
Can you play knight c4?
Oh, no, that would be brilliant.
Good idea of coming to e5 later, and then bishop comes to c5 at some point. That sort of thing. I don't know.
That would be brilliant. No, that would be brilliant. Okay, so let's start by actually taking it. Maybe I've got bishop h2, Chair.
Yeah, bishop h2, and then you got everything on the d2.
Okay, so king h1, rook g2 looks horrible. So let's run. Let's run for the hills. I mean, white is still a piece up, and the king has got a lot of pieces around it, but I don't know. The only problem is that my king's getting a little bit exposed. He's getting near to that check that will hurt me. I don't know which way it would come from, but real scary. I think his king's actually going to settle on d1. He's going to be surrounded by his pieces, and I think he's going to be all right. Amazingly.
Yeah, the queen being on g8 is irritating, isn't it? Doesn't work. Nothing works.
Bishop g3 check.
Okay, bishop g3 check.
King d1.
King d1. It's amazing how well coordinated white is there.
Rook takes rook on b2, and then queen takes.
Yeah, I've got some bad news for you. Some bad news for you. Some bad news for you. Yeah, there's the queen's defending the rook, and if you go on an adventure with the black queen, then you'll have to leave g8 hanging. So you're kind of white's very well defended. White's very well coordinated. So
what is it?
The knight c4, very nice idea. I mean, it's only just. I mean, it's interesting that the only way to refute that is this really precarious king journey. But I think the king journey does refute it.
Bishop d6.
Bishop d6. Yeah. I mean, it's not what I played, but sorry, it's not my move. What have I done wrong? Sorry, he went e4. So yeah, I just still want to play bishop d6 for the pawn on e4. Is that a nuisance? Maybe overprotect this knight. Very hard to say for sure. I mean, again, there may be some very slow way of just improving everything, and then maybe there's a rook g3 here. I'm not sure, but rook g3 doesn't really threaten anything. It's only very, very slow. I think rook g3 threatens a very slow queen h5 So Queen G4. Queen H5 and Rook H3 and Rook H1, mate. But I'm sure White would have time to deal with that one somehow. Maybe King F1, for example, at some point. Yeah, it's very unclear. Very unclear.
How about Knight B3?
Yeah, that'd be nice if he took it. Let's say he doesn't take it. Let's say he just does that. And then the problem with Knight B3 is it's kind of offside. It's not really joining in the attack. He just ignores it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, if Rook takes B3, I think then Black might have a combination.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just ignores it and gets his pieces into the game. Maybe Rook F, maybe I.
It doesn't work, does it? Okay.
I think it's the wrong. I think he just gets stuck there, and I think he can improve himself.
Okay.
I think you're going to have to reveal this, Keith. You know.
About Rook G5.
Ah, you're very close.
And then Rook H5.
Because
you can't play Rook Knight takes Rook because of Queen H2, mate.
You're thinking.
Oh, Bishop takes G5.
Yeah, but you're thinking by a kind of. Well, I'm not going to say an accident because your thinking would be absolutely spot on, except for Bishop takes Rook. But your thinking is right. Your thinking is right. I want to bring a Rook to the H.
Rook G4.
Rook G4. Yeah. Rook G4. Is
Rook G4. Then. Yeah. Then neither Rook can take it when it goes. Neither Knight can take the Rook when it goes to H4.
Yeah. Good find, Steve. Yeah. Brilliant. Rook G4. That's the move. That's probably the hardest move in the game. So he just makes plays E5, and so E5. So I took it off, and he took back. So let's carry on. I mean, you're right. Your plan of Rook G4 is a very nice, principled kind of idea. Just get this piece onto the H file, but you can improve position first before you play it. So, what's the last move? What's the last move of improvement in order to get everything participating? What final? How did I bring in the last piece before I administer the final blow?
You got Knight C4 now.
Yeah, just bring the knight in. Just absolutely, Phil. Yeah, bring the knight in. But Phil? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on Phil. Yeah, knight C4. So knight C4. He plays. He can't never take that rook. Silly. So he played Rook C2, and now we have everything in place. And so now the final combination, and I'm only going to allow the first move if you follow it up correctly, because we kind of know about that move now, but we don't know about the follow-up yet. So whoever wants to say the winning move in needs to find the whole sequence. I'll give a little clue. It's now forced mate in 3. Whatever he plays is forced mate in 3.
H4.
Yeah.
Knight G takes H4.
That's forced.
Bishop F2 check.
Wow.
And Queen G3 mate.
Yeah, good spot. Well done, Mark. Well done, Mark. That's how the game finished. Yeah. So I played here. Now I'm taking Queen H1 mate. He can't take with this one because then that's mate. He can't do nothing because there's no move that stops Queen H1 being mate. So he must take with this one. And now the only discovered check that works is the double one. Is the one that gives the bishop over. Something like there, he will just go back again, and I'm not getting anywhere. So I have to play the double check. Because it's double check, he has to take it. King takes bishop is clearly the only move. And then with all his pieces around his king, it's still checkmate. And Julian's, yes, after sportingly playing it out to mate, he goes, I do believe that's checkmate. And he offered his hand. Very sporting guy, Julian, very nice guy. So that was it. So it's checkmate. So although it doesn't matter that I'm a rook and a bishop and a knight and 2 pawns down, because he's a king down. So that's it. Cheers.
Very nice.
The knight covers the E3 square.
Yeah.
Yeah, the final piece into the attack. the silly knight that's been hanging on the edge all game.
One thing you might not know, Keith, about Julian is he is a direct descendant of the hanging judge, Judge Jeffreys.
Oh my word! Now you tell me. Well, is this a hanging offence? It's close, isn't it?
I was just wondering. Yeah.
Close.
Checkmating him, it might be a hanging offence. Yeah.
Well, it's good you wouldn't leave him with hanging pawns at any point.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I thought that was a brilliant game, and so thanks for showing us.
Thanks, John.
I guess you enjoyed. I guess you must have enjoyed that game.
I mean, yeah, I've mostly admired Julian for being sporting. He would have seen the mate coming in, and he played it on. Says a lot about Julian, but obviously it's kind of one of my best attacking games. Things fell into place quite nicely. I mean, it's one of those things that if you run it through the computer, there's all sorts of errors and there's all sorts of defensive ideas. But human against human, we're both quite highly rated. So human against human, it's very difficult to play. It's very difficult to play for white, and it's quite difficult to play for black. From a practical point of view, it was quite an easy attack to build up. And leave Julian with the problems to solve. Yeah, it was fun.
Good.
It was fun. Nothing very instructive there, I'm afraid, chaps. But
how can we get hold of? When's your new book going to be available, Keith?
I'm kind of having a last check of it. It's been kind of glued together by Richard Palliser of Chess and Bridge. I'm writing a book for Simon Williams, for Ginger GM.
Who's the publisher?
But Simon has joined forces with Chess and Bridge, which I'm very pleased about. They've got a lot of experience in this kind of thing. I mean, Richard Palliser has done an absolutely brilliant job of correcting everything and gluing it all together and so on. And Malcolm's got experience with this whole kind of thing, doing books, getting books out there, distributing them.
Yeah. Who's the publisher?
The publisher, well, it's Ginger GM, and then in some kind of combination with Chess and Bridge. I think my kind of deal was Arkell in conjunction with Ginger GM, and then and Simon's brought Chess and Bridge on side as his other partner in the process. So it's that kind of combination. Took me 3.5 years to write it because I'd play all the time.
So how many rook and bishop versus rook endings are there?
Only one. I didn't want to do any. I was pressured into doing one. I was also pressured into putting a game against Mark Hebden, my friend and rival of about 40 years, because in my last book I didn't put any of the 150 games against Mark. So I was the honourable thing and put an end game against Mark. Then going against Mark in there, and it's about 35 of my kind of interesting end games. It's kind of if you like maybe the unusual aspect of it is it's not. I'm not really concerned with what objectively is happening. It's all written from kind of Arkell's viewpoint, so it's all kind of what, to the best of my memory, what thoughts went through my head at the board. So I either give the variations that I saw at the board, or the verbal thoughts that I had, the thoughts I had about the position, what I was trying to do. So it's all just Arkell live. It's live at the board inside my head, which is quite a scary place to be. Inside my head at the board, and often I don't know when I'm winning. Often I don't know what the objective assessment is, but I've got a good idea how to improve positions and how to make progress, how to put opponents under practical pressure. That's it. Arkell's endings.
Great. Okay. Well, I think on behalf of everybody here, I want to thank you for showing us these two extremely instructive games, quite different games, really. The first one was very technical, and I thought there was enormous amount to be learnt from that first game, and the second game was entertaining, as you say, and it's good to checkmate Julian Hodgson. You know, why shouldn't you?
Yeah, he does enough of it himself.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think on behalf of Camberley, Crowthorne and Guildford Chess Clubs, I want to say thank you very much, and I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Well, thanks, guys, and thanks very much. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, and thanks for the interaction. Thanks for the interaction, and thanks for joining in.
John Upham for organising. Well done, John.
Cheers, John.
That's okay. It's a pleasure.
Cheers, John.
John, would it be possible to get hold of the PGNs for these games so we can just